Now, we all know that many African and Nigerian universities are languishing at or near the bottom of the international ranking tables because of their limited capacity for research and for their lack of qualitative education, with many local institutions of higher learning lacking up-to-date materials to teach and do research with, and with very little funding available. How should they go about strengthening their capacity? Well, one way would be to partner with international institutions of higher learning that are more research-oriented and can help with capacity building. And that's where Michigan State University's Alliance for African Partnership comes in. It was launched 5 or 6 years ago to help develop mutually beneficial research links between universities in Africa and the West. And now they've come to Nigeria with the aim of partnering and innovating. Well, for more on this, I'm delighted to say that I'm joined now in the studio by Abraham Mamela, Communications Coordinator for the Michigan State University's Alliance for African Partnerships. Thank you very much for coming in.
Hello, Charles.
And you're originally from Botswana.
Absolutely.
That's a very progressive country, and I think an example for many African countries. But let's get to the point. I mean, the Alliance for African Partnership, tell us more about what it does. Obviously, you're aiming to strengthen partnerships with African universities.
Yeah. Firstly, let me thank you for having us here. I must say, it's my first time in Nigeria, and the people are lovely. I've been enjoying myself. The food is amazing.
Okay, record that and play it again.
Yes, we've received nothing but love so far since we're here. But just to get to the point, the Alliance for African Partnership is a global consortium member, but focusing in Africa, of course. It was funded by Michigan State University in 2016. The idea behind that was that, look, we've got so many problems, but the problems also at the same time, there's opportunities behind problems. But it has to start somewhere. It has to start with strengthening research and innovation, our knowledge systems. So that is what we are all about in summing up. So what has happened in the past, we've worked with our partners who are a consortium of 12 members. So we are working together, co-creating solutions, and University of Nigeria here in Abuja.
You mean University of Nigeria, Nsukka?
Yeah, Nsukka.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
That's your partner in Nigeria,
yes,
is it?
that is our only partner in Nigeria.
Are you planning to expand that partnership?
We are looking to expand that, of course, with a lot of funding as we move and integrating other partners and to become our partners. Yeah.
Right. So is that what you're actually here to do in Nigeria, to expand the partnership, or just meet with your partner and sort of?
Yes, in part, that is what we are here to do.
Right.
But because it's been 5 years, at some point we have to stop and think about what have we done.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go, and what is it that we need to improve with our partners? Who do we need to have to improve ourselves? You know, we've met wonderful people, industry people, you know, thought leadership really, with whom we think it will be wonderful and great to be part of our initiative. And really, in the past when we started, it was more of the academia that formed this. But we have to now think outside the box and think, how do you really reverse engineer, you know, the industry's experience into the research, which is something that has been
That's
lacking.
essential.
Yes, and not only the private sector, also the people who are dealing with the problem, the civic communities, the societies. And the idea here, Charles, is that, as you may know, there's a common saying that says, that goes, nothing for us without us. So that is where we want to start. We want to co-create solutions with the people, with the policymakers, with the business, with the community, such that whatever we create becomes relevant to those who want to solve problems for.
And how far have you gone with the University of Nigeria in achieving these things you're talking about?
Yeah, we've gone so far in terms of capacity building the university. We've been funding a lot, you know, PhD scholars.
They're quite big on research, though. At least they're getting better in terms of
That is why
research.
we have them as a partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been funding research, capacity building, we're having exchange programs, and that is a start. Now we are thinking, what is it that we can do in Nigeria? I mean, look, In Africa, you cannot do anything and ignore Nigeria. Nigeria is one biggest economy that you need to have as a partner. And I mean, don't tell them that, hey. Yeah, so
you're trying to grow that relationship.
We are trying to grow that relationship, and I'm sure for a while, if you think about it, the influence that Nigeria has, something that you need to have in your backyard, in your team. The music is amazing. The cities are exploding out of time. It's a melting pot of talent. And of course, with other regions in Southern Africa, East Africa, how do you combine that? Exchange culture, because the innovation lies in the culture.
Absolutely.
Which is one priority area that we are focusing into: culture, youth, and water, energy, and all that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what your priority areas are, but you mentioned that agriculture is another one, is it?
Agri-food system is one of
them.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you're aware of the 7-month strike that the academic staff of Nigerian state universities have been on. Part of what they're striking about is the lack of capacity, which of course includes research. The government can't, fund them enough, and they don't seem to have figured out how to raise money for themselves. Are you across all of that?
Yes, I have. We are not part of that.
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean.
Yes, what I can say is that these are all, reasons to think about.
And to think outside the box, as you said.
Yes, to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And I'll just throw, some solution or a challenge to you that, look, for a long time, universities have been funded by government. And what we've been asked as the academia is that, what is it that you're doing to fund your own selves? Where is the innovation? And that question...
Well, that was one question I was going to ask you.
Yes.
Because I was going to ask you, I wonder if your partnership gives advice to universities.
We do.
Okay.
Yes.
About how to build, funding capacity and so on.
You read my mind. That is what we've been discussing all along, really. How do we come up with sustainable projects that will happen even when everyone has gone.
Absolutely.
The people must take over. And that is why we have to rethink our model and approach, which is the only one so far in Africa. Really, the partnership around Africa, how do we co-create and how do we pool resources together, and how do we rethink the model? Bringing the right people at the center, the private sector who are making money. And my colleagues have been here. So far, they've been having meetings with the right people who will be able to help them think outside the box, bring that thought leadership within the perspectives of research. And some of the solutions that have been coming were that, look, let us explore how we can have the thought leadership of the private sector such that they are the ones who fund it. Look, Charles, the challenge with Africa is that value chains have been coming outside Africa, ending in Africa.
Absolutely.
And the research has been funded there. Now, we want to change the game. We want to really rethink this. How can we have our own business people funding these initiatives?
But of course, those business people will only fund it. It's a bit of a chicken and an egg situation, is it? When they see research and think, hey, this is something that's valuable. Because if you look at, for example, Oxford University was they were collaborating with pharmaceutical companies to develop, COVID vaccines and all the rest of it. So they need to see evidence of that research before they start putting their money into it.
I'm beginning to feel like you're eavesdropping on our meetings, but yeah, you're right, Charles, because the private sector, when I come to you and say, look, I want money, I want you to fund this thing, the first question is that, what's in it for me?
Yeah, and what have you done?
What have you done?
Yeah.
And that is a valid question, and that is what we've been retrospecting throughout. And the ideas that are coming within our partners and that are coming by the thought leadership in the private sector are actually saying, look, we want to hear more, but we want to give you money if only you can see this. And at least there's a conversation there where we will start and say, look, we want to do this. Please help us. Is it okay if you can be part of our board? And how will that come? And strategically thinking, how can we achieve these things together?
But I suppose the coming from Michigan State University, which is a well-respected institution, gives strong backing to that, the partnership idea, and kind of gives support, and perhaps makes people feel that, okay, the people from the private sector, that, this is something we could get involved in.
Yeah. Absolutely. Michigan State University is bringing experience, is bringing some reputation.
Absolutely.
And of course, if you see these partnership coming with Michigan State University, there is some level of trust because MSU has done a lot.
Yeah.
And that is what we want to flow and the experience and to bring into the
Well, I mean, I was looking at some of your material that is online, the MSU, Michigan State University. I mean, it has a lot of autonomy in the sense that the state only provides about 5 to 10% of its annual budget, from what I understand. But its research expenditure is probably more than $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine a Nigerian university having that kind of money.
Yeah, well, it is possible. It is very possible because there's so much money in Africa. A lot of our African leaders in private sector, they are sending their children to
absolutely, but the key thing here, the learning thing, is that it is the university that generates that money.
Absolutely.
And that's something African universities have to learn.
They have to learn that, and also they have to, if we are to be relevant to the government, we have to justify ourselves. I mean, the governments, I mean, in all fairness, they've done the wonderful job of funding the initial part of at least building the universities. I mean, it is upon us to be creative. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, look, I'm sure there are reasons that affect researchers here. We are not the same. Everyone is taking things at their own pace. I wouldn't comment much on the strikes here, but I do believe that there's something that we can do together if we work together. And think,
So if one of them, one of those universities, is listening to us now and is inspired and says, Christ, I want to get in touch with these guys, how do they do that? How do they become a part of your partnership?
Yeah. Well, firstly, there's a way in which you become our partner. You have to be nominated by a local university.
Okay.
In the context of Nigeria, University of Nigeria has to be the one that nominates a partner.
Right, okay.
And said, hey, these are the guys that we would like to have on board. And because they are bringing them, definitely they are,
they have better knowledge of what's going on.
You only recommend friends to friends.
Yes, absolutely.
That's how it happens. So I do believe that it will take it from there. However, I must say that it all comes with we have limited resources. As partners grow, we want to also be growing, the resources. So it's something that having more partners at the same time, we would be carefully looking at exploring how local we can raise this funds.
What the benefits are for the group as well as the individual
and
universities.
The quality of the partnership.
Well, I want to thank you very much indeed. It's very, very interesting what you've been telling us, and I hope people are listening, particularly those striking universities. Abraham Mamela is Communications Coordinator for the Michigan State University's Alliance for African Partnerships. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.